Brian. Let me know where you guys are from, and we're gonna be starting drinking tea together. I don't know why all of a sudden got a little hot, but it's like Christmas in Southern California, which is hot. So welcome everybody. Questions from Fuzz, when will the green tea set be back? We have more that are coming. I think the 27th of this month was when the next shipment is coming, so it should be in another week or so. Thanks everybody for patience if you're waiting for your perfect preferred color for that. I know that it's been tricky to try to stay in stock for everything, but we are doing the best we can. For anybody else who has any questions over here, 138 degrees, a lot of degrees. We got people over here. Fuzz says, thanks, I'll be ordering. Thanks so much, appreciate it. We're gonna be drinking some tea. If you're new to the channel, you don't know what's going on, I'm Jesse, I'm your tea guy. I basically lived in China for 9 years. I got really into tea as a hobby, and now I run this channel where I do all sorts of tea information, make tea with everybody, and I also run a shop where if you want to try the teas that I get from my tea friends in China, the tea farmers, the guys that run the small tea shops, they're all up on there. They send it to me, I send it to you, and I'm sure we have some people who are watching now that are maybe even drinking the teas in the the teas that I'm drinking here from my tea friends in China, that you guys might be drinking the same one. So welcome everybody, appreciate it. Lots of great comments, and by the way, if anybody has any questions about tea, put them in the comments. I have TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube running, so if I'm answering comments that are not from your stream, I apologize, but generally they're kind of the same types of comments, and if I miss your comment, please repost it. I know that it can get frustrating sometimes, but I'm trying to answer as many questions as I have while you guys are here. But before I want to get into my drinking of the tea for the day, and I wanted to start. Usually I let you guys choose which ones I want to start, but today I was repackaging all of the tea samples that I brought back from China in June, and I bought this giant felt tub, and this thing is just full of all the different tea samples. And as I was packing them, I noticed I had this, which was something I honestly forgot I had been given such a generous sample of. This is like 300, 400-year-old tea tree, very old wild white tea. So this is the wild tea trees that are growing up on the mountains. And I'm gonna show you, I just wanna show you. So white tea, for those of you who don't know, is tea that is picked and withered, and that's it. So like, that's picked and withered, and that's it. It's a leaf they picked off a tree and they let to dry. And if you make tea this way, it produces a very sweet, natural, herbal flavor. But also, it like to be able to have this quality of white tea is really rare. Originally, I remember why this kind of went to the bottom of the sample drawer. And it was not because it was not good. It went there because it's too expensive. I couldn't really afford to sell it on the shop. It would be prohibitively expensive. Also, as you can see, it's large. But that's what we're gonna be drinking to start off. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And from there, we'll go on. I'll be answering a bunch of your questions. Questions over here from the watcher on the web. Hey, Jesse, signed up for the subscription yesterday and added some of the teas you have been tempting me with for a while. Thank you so much, watcher. And by the way, if you made a purchase, or if you make a purchase during the stream, we'll give you a tea pet pour. So watcher, let me know which of the tea pets you'd like me to pour on. We have Big Puff, the puffer fish, and we have Chonky Horse, the Chonky Horse. We'll give them no, all good. We'll give them a bit of a tea pour once you get started. We're gonna do this white tea now. So yeah, again, look at those leaves, man. Just like unbelievable. Big leaf. Excellent. Big Puff. What do we got? No, that wasn't Watcher though. Watcher gets to make the call. So we're gonna be drinking this white tea. This is from Yunnan. So the Yunnan people have a different take on how they do the grading for their white teas. In Fujian province, you'll look at how silly this looks like in the cup. But we're actually gonna put more than that in there because this stuff is gonna shrink down. You're gonna be surprised at how much this stuff goes down. Let's do one more big ass leaf. There we go. The Fujianese, they have basically 4 grades of white tea. It goes Shoumei, Gongmei, Bai Mudan, white peony, and then Bai He Yinzhen, silver needle. Those different grades are based off of how much from Shoumei, which is all leaves, all the way up to Bai He Yinzhen, which is all buds. A tea plant usually has 1 bud, 2 leaves. Occasionally for wild trees, bigger trees, they might even have more leaves. And in Yunnan, they don't separate the leaves from the buds. It's all together in one giant ass, big ass leaf. So that's what we're gonna be going with today with this beautiful white tea. I have an iPad. I was gonna say, I wish I could take a picture of this, but my phones are being used. Taking the live streams, but like, look at that white tea. Baby. Okay, great. We're gonna be doing that. And then we'll get to the questions. I apologize for getting questions, but if I answer all the questions, I'll never be drinking tea. I might as well make the tea and then answer the questions with you guys. Hopefully I didn't have too much, but this stuff really should come down quite a bit once we get it in there. Oh, this is a treat. Hope everybody's having a great holiday season. I will be looking up at the questions just as soon as I can get these tea leaves into the cup. And it's a little bit tricky when they're so dry like this, but this is the real deal. This came from the mountain. Anytime as a tea guy I see that, I'm like, that's right from the tea farmers. Everybody else is trying to impress you. The tea farmers throw it in a plastic bag and then tell you what it is and then tell you to pay a lot of money for it. And then I'm like, yeah, it's pretty legit. Here we go. First steep is a wash. For this young white tea, I really do like to give that a wash because the young teas are already a little bit sharper, getting a wash in there. I'm also gonna leave the top on, which will give them a little bit of a steam, and I'm gonna up the water temperature just a bit to make sure these things are going, but beautiful, beautiful tea time. Here's the wash for you guys to take a look at. Beautiful tea color, excellent. All right. Give our tea pets a pour. This is the best part of this wash. Oh, it smells like fruit. It smells like apricot or some sort of like really intense fruit like that. Welcome, welcome. This is 2023. So this is, somebody asked on here, we had a watcher said on the web, it says, anyone say how old it is? It's from 2023. So that's the thing. I've been thinking about maybe buying some of this just myself and aging it because it's so good, but I know it'll be even better 3 years from now. And the 3 years from now version of this, which I also tried on the Tea Mountain, was even more prohibitively expensive, but very cool. Dad says I'm drinking 2023 Jasmine right now. Welcome. By the way, if anybody's trying if anyone's drinking any teas, my teas, anybody else's teas, put them in the chat. It's tea time. And you'll see how the leaves are already kind of almost fully down into the cup. I was not too ambitious with what I could get into that cup. I think I played it just about right. And we're gonna be enjoying this going forward. So now that I got the tea going, happy to answer any questions over here. Questions from Yami, how do you get the tea? So I lived in China for 9 years and I originally got into tea by going to the Beijing tea market. There's a giant wholesale tea market. It's 2 miles long. Shops on both sides of the street. Some are the size of malls and they're all tea shops. Thousands and thousands of tea shops. And I had friends initially that introduced me to friends there. Some days I would just go and wander around and go into open shops and see who I vibed with. And that was kind of how I got into the tea originally. And then as I got more into the tea, I wound up, hanging out with tea farmers. Anytime I would perform in a part of the country that had tea, I would then go and stay a couple extra days and meet some farmers, and it was great. Questions over here. ChoyUX says, I got a rainbow stone tea table from you, and it's the great, thank you so much. Got my pet foxes sitting on it. Oh my God, that smells so good. That's why this tea is so expensive, is that scent. Because it's just, the flavor is good too, but that scent is unbelievable. Here we go, check out the really beautiful, clean color there of that one over here. Cheers. Oh my God. It just tastes like fruit juice. I love it. It's so intensely fruity. I love it. Somebody with a name in Hebrew, which I probably could read if I knew how the vowels were. Michael Teben, I think. I'm drinking a Teahouse. How do I steep it? If you have a Teahouse, that's an oolong tea, so I would just be aware, one, it's probably rolled up, so it's going to expand, as I'm sure you know. So use less than you might think you might want to use. And then I would start doing experiments with different steeps around 85 to 90 degrees Celsius. So not fully boiling, but not cool. And maybe try steeps anywhere between 20 seconds to 45 to see how you like it. Every tea is going to react a little bit differently. But if I were making a mystery Teahouse, that's how I would make it. Very, very cool. Questions over here. Why do I feel de-stressed when I drink tea, from Young Bills? Great question. So tea has a lot of things in it. It's not just caffeine. There's caffeine, but there's also a molecule called theanine, which is a tea version of caffeine. And there's also different things, there are different like chemicals inside of the tea that have different effects on people. But the general effect is one of alertness and attention, similar to caffeine, but also calmness and just sort of like that de-stressing energy as well, which comes from the, I believe it comes from the GABA molecules. And all of those things together kind of create this unique experience of drinking tea, where you're able to have sort of energy, your mind gets moving, but you're not jittery. And that's what tea does, and that's why people have been trying to find the best tea for 2,000 years. Cheers. Lots of great questions coming over here. Arpad says, hello from Transylvania. How can I prepare my tea to have less caffeine? Great question. So if you want no caffeine in your tea at all, you need to get herbal or flower tea, because all tea leaf tea is going to have some caffeine in it. So if you want less caffeine, one thing you can do is at the beginning here, you saw that I did a wash steep. The first steep of tea I poured out over my tea pets. The second steep also is going to have a lot of caffeine in it. So the first and second steep have the most caffeine in them, and then the caffeine kind of like tapers off as the tea spends more time soaking. So I would say if you're preparing your tea, whether you have a gaiwan or a teapot or however you're making it, give it a wash, rinse it rinse it around real quick, pour out the liquid. You can do a second wash, pour it out, and a third wash. If you're using a tea bag or the type of tea that is too low quality to get 3 washes out of it, then you're kind of screwed. Because I don't know what you do then. But this white tea should be able to go about 15 steeps in this size gaiwan, so I'm not really worried about pouring out the first steep or even 2 steeps. Very, very cool. Lots of great questions over here from YouTube. Nathan asks, what got you so interested in Chinese culture? I feel like I should have a really good answer to that, considering what happened in my life. But it was really a piece at a time. I think the first thing is I was always interested in languages, and so I studied Chinese in school. And I liked that it was difficult. I liked that it had characters and it was hard to read. I liked that the culture behind it was very different. I had also studied Spanish, but Spanish culture, Spain, Catholicism, there's like a lot of stuff that is relatively familiar for me as somebody who grew up in the United States. Whereas with Chinese culture, none of it was familiar. And so that was very exciting and sort of like curiosity inducing in the beginning. And then the big thing was when I was in college, I got a chance to study abroad in Beijing. Oh, it was so good. And I just like loved Beijing. I fell in love with living in China. It's very dynamic. People are very interesting. It was at the same time this very old culture, but also all the new stuff was being built there. So people are starting wacko tech companies, and then overnight 1 billion bicycles show up on the street and you can rent these bicycles, and it's like stuff was moving and happening, and it was a very interesting place to live. It was also a place where I felt I could be of use because I had learned things from growing up in America and that I had studied that were valuable to them, and they had stuff that I had never heard of and I was interested to hear from them, so including the tea culture. So it was really a great place for that sort of exchange. And now even today in the in regular day life, I'm still doing a lot of Chinese stuff, even though I live in the US and I speak Chinese every day, which is great. Very, very nice. Thank you, Kit Bish, for the rose. 比心啊，谢谢. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Take a look over here. Hey Jess, this is from Nightmare. Hey Jess, what are some affordable lightly oxidized oolongs you would recommend that is Taiwanese oolong? I like I mean, affordable is a little bit, obviously everybody has a different idea about affordable. I have two really good lightly oxidized oolongs from Taiwan on my shop. I have a milk oolong and an Alishan High Mountain oolong. They're a little bit pricier. I think one's $45 and one's $50, but they come with 150 grams of tea. So that's like 30 to 40 sessions of tea for $45 or $50. Actually, by weight, it's one of the cheaper teas on the site. It's a really good deal. The that like Alishan, Lishan, Shanlinxi, there are many good types of Taiwanese tea, and no spoilers, but there's a not 0% chance that I'm going to be going to Taiwan in January. I don't want to ruin any surprise for anybody, but it's probably going to happen. I'm going to go by Taiwan in January and be able to look at some more oolong. So hopefully I'll have some even more things to be able to share with you then. King Ligstick says, what are you drinking? We are drinking ancient wild tea tree white tea that comes from the same, so this is a Sister Eyes farm. So those of you that know have gotten our Sister Eyes Best of Tianjia Mountain Master Series box. This is the Master Series box, which actually I think we're still in stock of. We've been like out of stock more than in stock with this item. But the Master box has 4 teas from Sister Eyes Mountain. This is another tea from her mountain. But unfortunately it was even more expensive than these, and these are not cheap. So I didn't wind up picking this one, but it is real good. It is real good. There we go. Cheers. All right, see if we have any questions. Alvaro Cristo says, hey Jesse, the tea that I can buy here in Argentina is a package. I should let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes. How's it different from the tea that you use? Great question. So even in the States, if I go to a grocery store and I buy tea and it comes in the tea bag and they say steep 3 to 5 minutes, that's fairly regular here too. The difference is that the tea bag has almost no tea in it. So you see here, I have a whole lidded cup full of leaves. A tea bag might have 1/5, 1 part in 5 of what I put in there, or even less. So you have to steep it longer because they give you almost no tea. The second thing is just the quality is generally bad. So if the quality is bad, you need to steep it longer to get more flavor out of it. But if you steep it longer, it gets more bitter. And so being able to balance that with a tea bag is very, very difficult. Like you need to be a master to make a tea bag really well. And why would you do that? If you were good enough to drink that, to make that tea really well, you should be drinking better tea. So, we can ship to Argentina, by the way. If anybody is inside the USA, easy, go on the website, make a purchase. Outside the USA, still easy, go on the website, but you have to use a credit or a debit card because we can't take PayPal, and just be aware there may be taxes depending on what country you're from. I'm hoping to be able to globalize my shipping situation next year. 2024, I'm looking into warehouses in Europe at least, and in South America, I'm not sure, but I'll look into that because we have had some orders from Brazil and Argentina. And we have one guy in Peru who buys a lot of tea. Who knew? But cheers over here. But yeah, it's great. Over here we have Dan the Man on TikTok says, love the content, my dude. Hope you have a happy holidays. Thanks so much. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope you guys are having a great holiday season, getting to spend some time with some loved ones. I'm Jewish, so I don't do Christmas, but for Jewish people, we all know that the cheapest flight of the year is always on Christmas Day. So my dad is actually flying out to Los Angeles to be with me here, even though we don't have anything particularly Christmassy to do. The flights are always cheap then, so it's a good opportunity to come over here for a little bit. questions from Arthur on TikTok, where to buy great tea. Should go to my site. As I said, I lived in China for 9 years. I know all the farmers that I get this tea from. I was there in June in Yunnan, hanging out with the farmers, picking the right teas. And I know lots of friends that are Chinese small tea shops. They send it to me, I send it to you, we cut out everybody else. That's the way to do it. Jesse's Teahouse, I'm Jesse, jesse'steahouse.com. It's in my bio, you guys can figure it out. If anybody has recommendations, feel free to put them in the chat, because I'm sure some of the people here listening are drinkers of my tea as well. And I try to do a good job of keeping, there's no bad tea on the site. What is the best tea will depend on your personal taste, but nothing bad on the site. Cheers, very, very good. Other questions over here from Alex Bancas says, I got an old Gaiwan from my grandmother and I've been having a blast just trying tea. That's great. If you can get any tea stuff, like tea stuff all has like stories to it. That's why your tea pets have stories to them. The beads over here on the side of the tea table. I was given these by a woman who runs a tea house in New Jersey who used to be a Buddhist monk, and she gave me these beads, and I gave her a cake of tea from Bingdao the last time I was over in Yunnan. Always good to have stories attached to your tea. I'd love, if I had a grandmother give me a Gaiwan, I'd be using that all the time. That's exactly how you should be doing it. Questions over here. What's the best way to brew Dragon Well tea? That's from Lightwave. I would say you have a couple options in Hangzhou and the areas where that tea comes from. They actually will just take these like tall glasses just made of glass, and they'll steep it directly in the glass. Drink it. When you get to a third done, you refill it with hot water and just keep going as long as you want. That's a great way to drink Dragon Well tea. I drink it with the Gaiwan, no problem doing that. You could use a teapot as well, but I think I worry that the pot would kind of pump too much heat in it. And green tea is a tea that's a little bit more delicate, and you want to be careful with how hot you're steeping it. In some ways, that may be why the glass cup works well, because the glass absorbs a lot of the heat, and so the water cools down a bit. So it is over steeping, but it's over steeping slowly because you have cooler water in there by the end of it. Not to mention the fact that you're taking time to drink it as it goes on. The scent of this white tea is unbelievable. I wish you guys could smell the white tea. It really would be a shame. Jason Wong says, oh, this is a great question. Jason Wong says, are the tea and tea bags always low quality, or can they be decent? This is a little bit of a difficult question. The basic answer is it's really hard to find good quality tea in a tea bag, because people in China who drink good quality tea don't use tea bags. So anything in a bag is made for the Western market or outside of China. If the thing was made for export, and the Chinese know that Westerners don't know very much about tea and don't care very much about tea, there's really no incentive to put good tea in that tea bag. Even Western companies that are trying to bring they're trying to bring up the level of quality, but also not offend Western tea drinkers that use tea bags. You basically just have to rely on the fact that they're going to be giving people who they know don't do tea, because they're drinking tea bags, better quality tea, knowing they won't appreciate it. So I haven't investigated every single bag tea in the entire country. There can be people putting higher quality loose leaf tea in sachets and then asking people to make that. But even then, the tea can't expand. So if you look at the tea here, these leaves have expanded to fill up the entire lidded cup. Unless your tea bag is the size of this lidded cup, your tea is going to be scrunched in. It's not going to expand fully, and it's going to extract it like weird ways. The outside leaves might extract a lot, and the inside leaves less. It's like, the tea bag is not good technology for making tea. The tea bag is good technology for avoiding mess, because it keeps everything inside the bag, without asking people to make tea the way it was actually intended to be made. And when the British took the tea plant out of China and put it in all the different colonies, they obviously didn't take with it the way of making the tea. Like, can you imagine trying to get people in Victorian England to make tea like this? Nobody was going to do it. They were going to make tea the way they wanted to make tea, and then the question is, like, how do we make money off of tea that way? And then the tea bag eventually became kind of something that became popular, partially for convenience, partially because it kept the tea clean without having to use a cup and a filter and a pitcher, and partially also because the tea that was being made in the colonies was much less quality than the tea that was being grown in China. As a result, it was bitter, it was over-strong. People added milk and sugar to the tea, and then they had to keep growing the tea over-strong because people were expecting to put milk and sugar into it. If you took this ancient tree, 100-year-old tree white tea, and you pumped this full of milk and sugar, you might as well have been using low-quality tea. So all of this is to say, I have not tried every single tea bag in the world. I can't tell you every tea bag tea is not going to be good, but putting tea in a tea bag shows you're kind of fundamentally not doing the things that, you're not using any of the knowledge from the last 2,000 years of tea making when you put tea into a tea bag. And so, generally, I would advise you to get any loose leaf tea over any tea bag. That's a very rough rule of thumb, but that's kind of the answer to your question. Questions, more questions over here. I'm sorry, I haven't seen, I feel like I missed a bunch of stuff. Wow, it's Peter says, I enjoy using my Guy One so much. It's such an experience. Really loving the Jinjume red tea I got from you. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you so much. I love that Jinjume. I love Jinjume. That tea was a good find because Jinjume can get very expensive, and I found one that I felt was at an affordable price and the quality was really good. So I have had better Jinjume, but it costs 5 to 10 times more. So at that price point especially, I'm very happy with the Jinjume we have, and it's really good. It's like, unless you drink a lot of tea, you'll be like, this is, that's about the best you're gonna get. It's really good. Cheers, everybody. Question from Sylvia Plath. What about Turkish tea? What about Turkish tea? I don't know very much about Turkish tea. I know the Turkey, they drink a lot of tea. I believe it's black tea. And I actually heard that they can grow it there too. I think the weather is the type of weather they can actually grow tea in Turkey, but I don't know very much about Turkish tea. Again, I lived in China. My tea knowledge comes mostly from China. Mac with the cheese says, hope you have a good holiday. Thank you so much, Mac. I appreciate it. Other great questions over here. Questions, will the Shung Dragon Balls get restocked since they are still in the sampler? Yeah, are we out of stock of them already? We just ordered another batch of them. We have another 300, I think, being packed. But yeah, they will be back in stock. We're fighting hard to keep everything in stock, especially now with the 8T sampler. We had our new 8T sampler. We made a whole bunch of them, and we sold out in 3 weeks, thanks to the Christmas, Black Friday holiday, Christmas holidays. Very, very encouraging to sell out, but I feel bad because that's my, this is the 8T sampler. This is the entryway that I want people to be able to have into tea, and we're out of stock right now, unfortunately. But it comes with a welcome card. It comes with 8 tea cards. So these are all the teas that are in the box, and then of course the 8 teas themselves in the box, laid into different areas, balls, Puerto oranges, bricks, little bags. This is we're very, very proud of the 8T sampler. So very, very nice. Excellent. Cheers. But yeah, everything in there we're planning on restocking because we're hoping people like them from the sampler and then they can come back and get more. That's a win-win for everybody. So questions. Yami said, I'm sad I can only use PayPal to buy. I don't know, if you have a credit or debit card, they should work no matter where you are in the world. PayPal also works. I wish we could take more payment methods, but generally most people are able to do that. So questions over here said from Paul Leonberg. Why is a tea orange tea good for your tummy instead of making stomach aches worse? What's different? The reason it's good is because of the tea that's in that tea orange. So the tea that's in the tea orange is cooked pu'er tea, also known as shou pu'er tea. It's very dark, highly oxidized tea. It's fermented, and so for whatever reason, it's really good for your gut. And if you ask any like Chinese tea people, like, oh, my stomach is hurting, oh, 多喝点手茶, drink some of the shou pu'er tea. That stuff is really good for you. And I definitely, whenever I have a stomach ache, I drink that. Also, if you go to dim sum restaurants, a lot of time dim sum restaurants will serve a very watered down cooked pu'er. Probably watered down because they don't put a lot in the pot, save money. You're gonna be serving many, many pots of tea that day. But it actually works out really well. It can be very powerful when you make it like alone like this. It's very rich, thick, dark, and watered down. It's kind of just a nice little, keep your stomach, everything moving, even if you're eating a lot of oily food or something like that. 解腻, they say, like, it cuts the oily taste. So there we go, appreciate it. Yanni says, you're making me get a new card just to be able to buy tea. Oh, I'm sorry. PayPal should work unless you're outside the country. Unless you're outside my country, I should say. Questions over here. Lots of great questions. I had a question over here. I almost missed it. There we go. Adrian Garcia says, hey Jesse, where can I get my hands on some Silver Needle? I want to try some high-grade white tea and compare with the Shoumei and Gomei from the shop. I don't know. I don't have any Silver Needle. I mean, I have Silver Needle over here, but it's not on the shop. Other brands, I don't know. I haven't tried them, so I really can't recommend any other brands. But I wouldn't compare my Shoumei or Gomei to the Silver Needle. If you want to do a comparison, you could compare my Gomei to somebody else's Gomei. The difference in flavor is pretty big. The Silver Needle has a lot less flavor and a lot more fragrance and sweetness. It's very sweet, it's very light, it's very delicate. If it's done well, it's a very enjoyable experience. But I personally like the Shoumei and the Gomei better. Like, I have it all in my apartment, and I wind up drinking the Shoumei and the Gomei much more than the Silver Needle. Partially because the Silver Needle is expensive. It's one of those things where it's like, I wouldn't even say it tastes better or worse, but because of how it's made with only the buds, every tea leaf only has one bud. It takes manual labor to take the bud off, and it takes a lot of effort to make a kilogram of Silver Needle tea, so it's very expensive. That doesn't necessarily mean it's any better, it's just rare because it's expensive and it takes a lot of time to make. But definitely give it a try. Like, as a tea guy, it's definitely worth giving stuff like that a try. And I just don't know any particular place. I mean, I know where I would get mine, but the problem is if you were getting mine, it would be really expensive. So, the sample of the Silver Needle I have here per kilogram cost me twice what I paid for the teas that went in the master box. So it probably wouldn't mean twice that expensive for you guys, but you're looking at 50 grams of the stuff that I had being charged like $50 US or something like that. Like, that's a lot of money. And I personally don't think that it's worth that. So that's part of the reason why I don't stock it, but just saying. Questions over here. Avaro Crudo, I can't see the name. Avaro Criado says, hey Jesse, I just got a really expensive good English loose leaf black tea. Apart from the name, is there any differences with good Chinese black tea? I don't know where the English, they didn't grow it in England. So I would say the question is where it came from. Tea is different because of a couple reasons. One could be the leaf. So they're all tea leaves, but there are different tea plants. So there's Camellia sinensis, Camellia assamensis, whatever the Assam version is. So that could be a difference. Also, the difference is where it was grown, so different parts of the country, and then how it was processed. So, if it's a black tea, it's probably going to be processed in the same way of the Chinese red tea. What the Chinese call red tea, the Westerners call black tea. It's probably processed the same way, but who did the processing? What steps did they take? How long did they leave it to oxidize? These sorts of things can make a difference as well. So those could all be differences. I would guess if it's an English black tea, it was probably grown in India. Most of the English tea and the tea drunk in the West comes from the former colonies of Britain. So so generally the Indian teas I find to be stronger, punchier, because they were made to be covered with milk and sugar. And so that's my guess. But again, I haven't tried it. Give it a try. Try it without milk and sugar. Try it with milk and sugar. See how you like it. You should be able to brew it at boiling temperatures, no matter what, because it's a black tea. So it should be good. Awesome. Very, very good. Queen of Afternoon Tea says, I love seeing your tea pets in the videos. Thanks so much. Today on the table we have Big Puff and we have Chonky Horse. And just a reminder, if anybody actually does make an order during the live stream, you go to jessieteahouse.com, let me know. If you make an order during the live stream, then I will give you a tea pet port on the tea pet of your choice. Have I frozen here? I think my camera froze for some reason. What's going on here? Are you guys seeing me frozen? This is weird, man. I'm like frozen on my YouTube channel. Yeah, camera froze. Weird. Huh. Well, I'm gonna restart the stream on YouTube. I'm sorry, guys, because I don't know what else to do. But I'm gonna be right back, okay?